Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew's Gospel, which is basically Matthew 5 through 7, those chapters, begins with the so-called Beatitudes or blessings upon the disciples. We heard that several weeks ago on the Sunday of our annual meeting. Then Jesus follows up the blessings with a declaration. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. It's not you must be or you should be, but you are. That's a part of the blessing, living it out. Jesus proclaims to the disciples who they are. Salt and light, a public witness for God in the world, preservative of life and hopeful light, seasoning and sunshine. In essence, he says, you are together and individually an embodiment of my love and hope for the whole world, from Newtown all the way to Nigeria, from Philadelphia all the way to Pakistan. But then we settle back into the dangers of religious people in Jesus' time and ours. We just stay on a surface level with the words and the meanings. Salt on the surface is good, but when it goes below the surface into the wounds and messiness of human relationships, things get challenging. Light on the surface is good, but when it gets into the darkness, sin is uncovered and repentance becomes necessary. Repentance is a fancy word for needing to turn away and to God. There is a danger in taking God's will expressed through the commandments at just face value. There is a danger that God's people will get comfortable with a thin veneer of religiosity. And there is nothing more deceiving or disintegrating than people who have been merely brushed with Christianity. In the recent Pew research that's done about Christianity in the United States, the summary was basically this. Christianity in the United States is 3,000 miles long and a quarter-inch deep. Jesus intensifies his challenge where the rubber hits the road here, where the salt rubs into the sidewalk of human relationships. He illustrates his point, and I'm going to focus primarily on the fifth commandment. There are 3 commandments that are dealt with in this reading today. But let's look at just this one. You shall not murder. Murder is wrong because it ends a relationship and it destroys community. Of all the commandments, this one most people would readily confess that they have kept. Raise your hand if you think you basically kept that. On a surface level, most disciples feel that they have fulfilled number 5. I've never murdered anybody. I've never taken another person's life. Commandment number 5, check. Got it covered. Not on my criminal background check for family promise. Excellent. But look what Jesus does with this commandment, brothers and sisters. He raises the bar higher. He intensifies the meaning of the commandment. You have heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you will be liable to judgment. And if you insult a brother or sister, you will be liable to the council. And if you say, "You fool," you will be liable to the hell of fire. Happy Valentine's weekend, brothers and sisters. Okay. We think we've got the fifth commandment fulfilled on our own steam? Think again. Listen to what Luther has to say about these words. You may find as many ways to kill as you have organs. You may use your hand, your tongue, your heart. You may use signs and gestures. You may use your eyes to look at someone sourly. You may use your ears if you do not like to hear a person mentioned in your presence. There's a strong connection between intentions and actions, schemes of the heart and weapons of the hand. We murder not just with our hand or weapon, but also with our tongue, our mind, and our soul. Spend 30 minutes in heavy traffic in New Jersey. How long will it take to hear the word "you idiot" or "you fool" out of your mouth? Spend a little time on the playground at school. How long will it take to hear the words taunted, "We don't like you," or "You look fat," or "You look ugly," that wilts the human spirit? Spend a little time with stressed families in our homes. How long will it take to hear horrible and demeaning epithets coming from people we most admire? I went to a seminar on the family one time, and they were talking about how sometimes our own family members are our loveliest enemies. Oh, we know the buttons to push. Spend a little time watching the dynamics in Washington, D.C. and beyond, and realize how thoughts, feelings, words, and expressions then transmitted through lightning-quick social media can bring either considerable death or considerable delight. Brothers and sisters, these are times for sobering and humbling reflection indeed, when the commandment functions as a true mirror to our own existence. What Jesus' words intend to do here is to work like salt in the wound and like light to uncover dirt and darkness. Yes, these words work like baptism to drown the old sinful self and flush away all illusions and delusions about ourselves. It is quite humbling to face the music that we are all murderers, serial murderers, in the deepest sense, not so much with our hands or weapons, but with the rest of our body parts. We are not life-giving with our thoughts, words, and deeds. We do not love our neighbors, including those nearest and dearest to us, as we love ourselves. Having heard these cleansing words, and the way they work on us is a little bit like when I was growing up at home with my mother, when I wrecked my bike and got road rash on my legs. She sometimes seemed to delight in pouring hydrogen peroxide on it. She said it was like boiling it out. That's how the law, in its deepest sense, works on us. It cleanses the wounds of our sinfulness. And then, in the precious words of Luther, we creep to Christ's amazing grace on the cross. The one who raises the ethical bar so high also lowers himself to those who fall and flunk out on God's will. One who raises the ethical bar also lowers himself in perfect love to resurrect our capability of loving again. Even as we murder others with our heart, mind, attitude, and words, Christ not only offers his hands, but also his pure heart, mind, attitude, and words of forgiveness to heal our anger and our distraught. Because Christ takes the death sentence we deserve upon himself, we can take our stand before the throne of God and then turn ourselves back into the circulation to love our neighbors once again. Oh yes, this Jesus is fiercely demanding here in the Sermon on the Mount. But he is also unfailingly forgiving. Not so we can rest on our laurels in that forgiveness, but so that we can be sent back after being forgiven into the mix of messy human relationships with a fresh chance to love and choose life in the deepest sense of the word. Thanks be to God.